Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Monday. I'm in the office, taking care of business, mind, body, and soul. This is how we get through. Let's do a little bit of a meditation today. Let's talk about the inner child meditation. So you can find yourself a comfortable seat. Get yourself a glass of water. And put on some soft music if you like that, or burn some incense, whatever gets you into the right vibe. You want to find yourself a safe place without distraction. Put your phone, at least flip it over so you don't see it flashing if you get messages, so you don't get tempted to grab it. We're all triggered. We see that notification and you have to check it. So get rid of all the distractions. If you have the TV on or whatever, turn all that off. And what you're going to do is engage in a thought experiment. So start by controlling your breathing. When you're meditating, you want to get into what they call a belly breath. So you have good posture and you take in the air deeply in through your nose and you take it all the way down into your belly and you release it out of your mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. This is natural meditative breathing. It's good to pay attention to your breathing. Improper breathing, short breaths can induce anxiety. You can sit there and breathe like and induce an anxiety state. Your breathing is tied to your peace, to your strength, to your confidence. So get in the right mind frame, get your breathing right. Now we're going to use our imaginations. I want you to imagine an inner child. This is an inner version of you, a childlike version of yourself. You pick the age, if it's 4 years old or if it's 14 years old. But it's you when you were a kid. You may have a hard time imagining that image. That's fine. This can all be vague. Just follow along. Now, where is that kid, that version of you? Where is your inner child? Physically, location-wise. Is he in your old room, in the house you grew up in? Do you see the same posters on the walls? I probably have the same posters on my walls that I had when I was a kid. I mean, this isn't the same room. But what is your childhood bedroom like? Is that where you are? Maybe you're on the playground. Maybe you're at your favorite hangout spot down at the creek or in the alleyway, wherever you hung out all the time. But imagine your inner child at whatever age. Pick a version of yourself and put it in a location. Where is he? It'll come naturally. Now, I want you to go, say for example, if you're imagining a 6-year-old version of yourself in your old bedroom, I want you to go knock on the door. You, how you are now. And you're going to go have a conversation with your inner child, with that little version of you, that little person. And imagine as you open the door what the smells are like. What did your old room smell like? Probably not very good. Dirty socks and who knows what. A lot of kids' rooms are stinky. Is your room messy or is it clean? Imagine it just how it was. Is it light or is it dark? Were you the type to always keep the shades drawn? Hide out in your little cave? and you hear a tiny voice say, "Come in," and you open the door. And you go in and you have a seat. And I want you to try to engage that little person, that little version of you in a conversation. I would ask things like, "How are you doing? How are you feeling? Is there anything that you need, anything I can do?" And just play around with it. This is just a thought experiment. Play around with what comes up. See what comes up. Have a fantasy conversation between you and yourself as the older version and the younger version. The wiser version and the dumber version. Maybe you were scared very often when you were a kid. I know I was. I was in a violent household. My dad used to beat my mom regularly. Talk to your kid about just whatever comes up, the inner child. Talk to him about whatever comes up. He might want you to play a game with him. Maybe some of you were video game kids. I wasn't, but some of you probably were. Play a video game with your kid. It's all just an imaginary experience. One of the values of this is that you get to really find out who you really are. You get to reconnect with who you were. You may have forgotten. There's an inner version of you that may have become dormant because of the world, because of all the experiences and all the crap that you've been through for your whole life. And you may have forgotten who you really were. It's been so long. You don't even know who you are anymore. We can get lost in relationships and lose ourselves. When there's that experience after a relationship is over where you're just left as a shell of a person, you're like, I don't even know who I am. You have to reconnect. Well, this is one of the ways you do that, and this helps you to know yourself better, to possibly develop some goals for yourself as far as where you want to go. You may have forgotten some of your dreams. You may have been suppressing long-time needs, that this inner child has needs, and you've been ignoring this inner child for how long? 20 years? 30 years? Go find him and find out what he needs and give it to him. Provide that. Now, this is a good exercise to do, this visualization. Do it as a meditation and do it regularly, however often you feel comfortable with. And have regular visits with your inner child. Become like a big brother. Remember the Big Brother program? They had that when I was a kid, Big Brothers and Big Sisters. And if you were alone and you didn't have a father or anybody, you could be part of the Big Brother, Big Sister program and have a mentor. It was a great program. So you can mentor your inner child. When I did this first, it was weird. I couldn't find my inner child. I went looking for him. In fantasy, in my mind, I couldn't find him. I couldn't place him. It may be easy for you to place your inner child in the old room you had. I couldn't do that. I looked in a couple old rooms as I'm playing this little game in my head, this fantasy, visualizing this, and I couldn't find my inner child, so I had to go searching for him, and I found myself searching through what looked like Greece, if you've ever been to Greece, Mediterranean hillside village built out of stone. And I found my inner child sitting alone in a room with no furniture. a tiny room with no furniture, just staring at the wall. My inner child had no face, no mouth, no nose, no eyes, no face. Was barely even human. So I went back and visited this inner child, and it slowly, with each visit, it developed a face and a personality, and it became a regular little kid. And I talked to it, and it told me how lonely it was and how afraid it was. Asked me where I had been. That was a question I wasn't ready for. So we developed this little relationship. And as I did this meditation, I found myself becoming more connected with myself, becoming more whole. I'd always felt like a fish out of water. I felt more human, less like some alien that was dropped off here on a planet that he doesn't understand. There's a lot you can get out of this relationship with yourself, and it's worth playing around with. Or not. Do whatever you want. Food for thought.